Titans are very much enjoying their time in the sun given the Solar 3.0 rework. Arguably, they have come out the strongest of all of the classes. Well, today I'm going to put together a Solar 3.0 build for Titan with the Synthoceps. That's going to allow you to go on the offensive against your enemies, dishing out flaming fists and fiery death super fast. I'm going to run through the Solar 3.0 setup, the weapons, the mods and the exotic armour so you can deliver flaming punches to the faces of your enemies. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. Synthoceps have always been a good piece of exotic armour, but the Solar 3.0 rework has dialed them up, making them pretty much essential in Season of the Haunted. The objective of this build is to apply melee damage and scorch to targets, plus extend that radiant and the restoration effects. It's going to help explode enemies through Scorch and Ignite, the two new Solar 3.0 keywords. Plus you are going to be a running healing machine, making you very, very difficult to kill, allowing you to take on all levels of content with ease. So Nightfalls, check. Raids, check. Dungeons, check. You know, this build has got something for everybody. Improving your radiant and restoration effects are going to both increase the damage output. That also stacks with elemental well mods you're applying to the build. It being radiant gives you about a 20% damage increase, and that one stacks with the elemental well mod Font of Might. It's going to make you really, really effective on the battlefield. This build is also going to allow you to refresh your restoration after getting a solar weapon kill, and we're going to be using our energy and power weapons to do that. Also, look out for weapons with the incandescent perk. That's going to help you build up these scorch stacks even more. Well, for our armour, we're using the Synthoceps in our exotic slot. We're going to be using mods too to improve the benefits of the build. We want to regenerate super and class ability nice and fast, plus also heal ourselves too. Our throwing hammer and rally barricade are going to come in use here to help us generate solar wells, plus apply radiant and restoration, and then we're going to further improve our abilities with our Solar 3.0 fragments. Well, without further delay, let's dive into the build. So first of all, we've got the Solar 3.0 setup. For the super, I'm using Hammer of Soul. Class ability, Towering Barricade, Melee, Throwing Hammers, and in the grenade slot, I'm using a Fusion Grenade. For the aspects, I'm using Roaring Flame, so final blows with the solar abilities or ignitions increase the damage of your solar abilities. That stacks 3 times, and while Roaring Flames is active, your uncharged melee attack deals solar damage and scorches targets. Then I'm using Soul Invictus, so solar ability final blows, Hammer of Soul impacts and defeating scorched targets create sunspots. Your abilities regenerate faster and your super drains more slowly while standing in a sunspot. And sunspots apply scorch and deal damage to targets inside, and entering a sunspot applies restoration. Well, then for the fragments, I'm using Ember of Empyrean, so solar weapons or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects, though you do get a -10 to resilience. Using Ember of Wonder, so rapidly defeating multiple targets with solar ignitions generates orbs of power, that adds +10 to resilience. You've got Ember of Solace, so radiant and restoration effects applied to players has an increased duration, and finally Ember of Torches, so powered melee attacks against combatants make players and nearby allies radiant. Well, next up, let's have a look at the exotic armour. So I'm going to be using the Synthoceps here, so let's look at the intrinsic trait. So we've got Biotic Enhancements, increase melee lunge range and improve melee and super damage when you are surrounded. Also, you get increased resilience. So if you haven't got these exotic arms, then you can pick them up from Zur when he's around at the weekend. Well, next up, looking at the weapons. So in the kinetic slot, I'm actually using an exotic weapon, and this one is Witherhoard. This one comes with something called Primeval's Torment. So projectiles fired by the weapon light the target or nearby area on impact. Also comes with Break the Bank, so blighted targets take more damage over time and blight the nearby area on death. So basically you can either shoot directly at the target for maximum damage, or shoot next to the enemy and cause partial damage, or essentially create a trap that sits on the floor, damaging your enemies over time. You can get this one from the Monuments to Lost Lights exotic kiosk in the tower, and that is next to your vault. In the energy slot, I'm using a favourite for this season. It's the Callus Mini Tool. So legendary energy submachine gun. It's got superb handling, you move faster with this lightweight weapon equipped. So I've got one with incandescent, so defeating a target space scorch to those nearby, and more powerful combatants and opposing guardians cause scorch in a larger radius. This is great for basically all Solar 3.0 builds. In the power slot I'm using Heathen Vengeance, I've got a roll with auto-loading holster and Vorpal weapon, so you can get this one from the Vault of Glass raid. It's a really good rocket launcher, especially with auto-loading holster. Basically it's going to auto-reload when you're not using the weapon, so when you switch to it you can get off a rocket nice and quickly. Well, next up, let's have a look at the mods. So this season, resilience has come to the forefront, so having as high resilience as possible is really going to help you out if you're looking to go into endgame content like raids and dungeons, and also Master and Grandmaster Nightfalls and Legend and Master Lost Sectors. Ideally, you want to be up there as near to 100 as you can be, as that is going to give you a 40% damage resistant effect. And also to pair with this, I'm using basic Elemental Well mods. Well, first of all then, I'm using Bountiful Well, so Elemental Well mods that cause you to spawn Elemental Wells can now stack, spawning additional wells for each additional copy of a mod you have equipped. I'm also using a melee well maker, so powered melee combatant final blows spawn Elemental Wells, matching your subclass energy type. So given this is a melee driven build, melee well maker works really well, and you want to use as many copies of this mod as you can, as that pairing up with Bountiful Wells is going to create multiple Elemental Wells each time you get a powered melee kill. I'm also using Font of Might, so picking up an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type grants a temporary bonus to weapon damage. I'm using Classy Restoration, so activating your solar class ability grants you restoration. I'm also using Innovation and Recuperation, that is really good for your survivability. And I'm using Hands On, so gain bonus super energy on melee kills. Well, let me know what you think of the build in the comments, and let me know if you've got any improvements. Well, that is it for this Synthoceps Titan Solar 3.0 build in Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. Well, if you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.
Took some work, but you did it. I guess nothing worth having comes easy. But that's why we have to celebrate what we got. Enjoy the bonfire.